Hey, Keither, how you doing, man? It's Gerry here. Look, man, I'm really sorry. I know we were supposed to be doing the interview and everything, but I can't get any childcare for Rocco.
No, I'm in here in the exact same situation with Lola.
Yeah, it's terrible. What's it like, man? Modern living, eh?
Yeah, you don't know the half of it.
Do you know what? Should we just do it anyway?
Yeah, why not?
Should we do it?
Let's go. My name is Matt Keith, number 8 for the Braehead clan. How would I describe my style? I like skinny jeans, I like wearing plain t-shirts. I'm generally pretty offensive.
So, Matt, is it fair to say that after you signed for the Braehead clan, it was a pretty life-changing experience from then on?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, obviously things have changed quite a bit for Chelsea and I.
You're a family man now, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
In the 2 dogs, 1 baby.
Yeah.
It suits you, man, it suits you.
Yeah, no, I think, it's obviously everything's changed for the better, and it changes the way you do things every day, and changes the way you have to prepare for games and prepare for practices, but you wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, well, you're obviously keen to come back, man, if you brought everyone back with you. I'm glad it's worked out that well.
Yeah.
A lot was made when you first signed for the clan about your Scottish background, and obviously your dad's from Glasgow, your mum's from Fife as well, is that right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and your introduction into hockey. Was that a big part of it, having Scottish parents?
I think, obviously, I started playing hockey in Canada. My
Yeah.
parents had immigrated over a few years before I was born, and both my older brothers played hockey. So as far as how I got into the game, it was obviously just going to watch them play, and then I just got a passion for it and a love for it that I think most kids get with any sport that they first try. And as far as my parents being from Scotland, I think it's just it's funny the way it's worked out, where we've ended up here, and there is that backstory. But a big thing for me is that's not the only reason why I came here. I wanted to come here to continue my hockey career, and I wanted to come here to further my career, and it wasn't just because we had family close. It was more, it's a bonus that they're here. Both my parents were kind of the same. All they cared about was if I worked hard, and I didn't get too much. Obviously, they were from Scotland, and they were from, they didn't have a lot of hockey background. So I don't know if when I was younger,
was your dad like, get your heat on it?
Yeah.
Get your heat on it, Matt?
I don't know if the important thing for them was that we worked hard and that you were enjoying it. So I think it was obviously funny, but at the same time, my parents now, they've watched me play for however many years, and I guess they know if I'm playing well or if I'm not playing well, and they can kind of see certain things, I think, of tendencies that I have and what helps me play well and what doesn't.
Well, I want to ask you about getting drafted, but I think we should probably get these kids and these dogs over to the park. Should we head over there?
Sounds good.
Let's go for it. Okay, here we go. We'll take a little seat down here on this bench, take a wee break here. The dogs are behaving, the kids are behaving. Well, I guess that kind of takes us on to getting drafted, of course, which is a huge moment in any player's life. Can you take us through what happened? Were you expecting it, obviously, or how does it work?
Yeah, I think, in my 17-year-old season, I was playing in Spokane at the time, and I'd kind of thought, when I was 16, my coach in junior was Mike Babcock, who's now the coach in Toronto, and he had told me at the end of the season that, I needed to have a big summer, and that he thought I had a chance to get drafted pretty high.
Yeah.
And so, and that was kind of, I guess, the first time that I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
So went into the next season, and I ended up hurting my shoulder. I had a shoulder surgery, so I missed 4 months.
Right. Did you worry at the time that could have a big impact?
No, because I knew that I had a good start to the season, and my coach at the time was saying my play was starting to drop off a little bit. So I kind of knew that it was either get it fixed or else then I would.
Wow, at that early age, you had that pressure.
So my agent had called me and said, either get it fixed now because your ranking isn't going to drop when you're injured.
Right.
But by playing poorly and
the more you play, the worse it's going to get.
By not playing the way that you need to play, then that's going to ultimately affect you. So I sat out for 4 months, and then I came back and had a good finish.
And then it gets to the point where you actually go in the draft and you actually hear your name. Take us through that moment. What's that like?
Yeah, it was really exciting. And, the first round takes a long time to go through. I think it was probably 3 hours for all the teams to go through it. And then at that point you're not even thinking about it because you don't think you're gonna get drafted, and then all of a sudden the second round goes a lot quicker.
Right.
It's not a big made for TV thing there. It's happening quick, and my agent had come up to me and said, hey, I think Calgary has 2 picks the next 3, and I think they're going to take you with one of them, and they ended up taking 2 other players, and,
wow.
And then he looked at me and kind of looked back and smiled, and he obviously knew something was going on. And
did you have like fingers crossed for certain teams anyway? Obviously you must.
No, I don't think so.
No?
You know, like you go through the whole process, and it does start during your 17-year-old season. It starts where you meet with teams will have scouts that come into town, and they'll meet with you after the game, or they'll meet with you the next day.
Yeah.
Go for lunch, or you know, and then there was other teams who would send out big packages of basically a psychology type package, and there was probably 4 or 5 teams that sent out the same one.
Wow.
And then, of course, if you go to the combine testing in Toronto, you have meetings there. So I had met with a lot of teams, and there was teams that you knew that weren't interested at all, and there was other teams where, for example, Calgary, I met with them in Toronto, and then when I got home, they flew me to Calgary.
So you had a good feeling.
Them again. So I thought, okay, well maybe there's a chance. But in Chicago, I'd met with them maybe once or twice, and then
you end up playing for Chicago.
Yeah.
In the end, I mean, so tell us eventually. So that's a huge moment, but I guess it pales in comparison by actually making your debut in the NHL.
Yeah.
What was that like, stepping out onto the ice? You know, the thing that you've aimed for.
That was a pretty. It was a pretty surreal experience, the way that it worked. I'd gotten one of my teeth knocked out that year, and because they had to let my gums.
Lola's not that happy about that experience. She's heard her dad talk about it several times. Is that what it is?
I'm going to take it out.
Yeah. Let's give her a little bit of freedom. Do you want out? Do you want out, Lola?
Yeah.
Is that all it is? A little bit of freedom.
Yeah.
You're going to hear this story lots over the next all of your life, so get used to it. So yeah, what were the circumstances of you actually getting out onto the ice?
So I had, like I said, I had a tooth knocked out, and so it was about 2 or 3 months after it happened. I was on my way to the dentist to get it fixed, and the GM in Norfolk had called me and said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, you can either get your tooth fixed finally, or you can get back here, grab your equipment, and get on a plane to Philadelphia because you're playing tonight."
Did you tell him I'll call you back in a minute?
I almost put my car off the road, and I went back to the rink and grabbed my equipment, and next thing you know, I was in Philadelphia. It was a short flight, and I got to play, and it was a really cool experience, and it was something where, you know, I was only 20 years old at the time, but it's something that's obviously going to stay with you for the rest of your life.
And obviously really good memories from that time there as well. You've got you then made a number of appearances after that, a really good appearance in the NHL. Something you look back on really fondly, your time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're in the moment, and you could probably ask most guys that have gotten the opportunity to be called up or to play a few games in the NHL, I think everybody will tell you when you're in the moment that you're never really satisfied with that, and you want it to be more permanent, you want more, and you want to keep getting better. And I think now that I'm at this point in my career,
this point in your life as well, eh?
Yeah.
Not happy about this hat at all. Let's ask Mum to help out as well. Come on in. The illusion burst here, I guess. We have actually got support for dog handlers and child handlers here. Thank you, James. There you are, more comfortable now.
No, but I think, getting back to your question, I think that you get to the point where now I can look back at it and I can really cherish it and really know how much it meant to me, and you know that even though it wasn't a long time, you know, it was something that I worked towards, and it's also something that I've taken with me the rest of my career, and you know, you hopefully try to use it as a positive and something that's helped you further your career. When
you first heard about interest and first thought about coming to the UK hockey, I know there was a few teams as well that were kind of mentioned at the time. Take us through what happened with your signing for the Braehead clan. Lola wants to say hello to Rocco. He's sleeping just now, I'm afraid. You need to get a boy, by the way. They're much easier for TV stuff. So yeah, tell us about actually signing for the clan.
So I guess, you know, that summer I had finished playing in Salzburg, and I kind of went back and forth with talking to them a little bit, not knowing if it was going to be there's going to be an opportunity to go back. And as soon as we kind of knew that I wasn't going to go back to Salzburg, I'd over the years I'd spoken to a few teams in this league, and I had spoken to Finner before when he was in Sheffield, and I just.
So he'd been after you for a while.
No, one year I was leaving Czech and I was going to go to Austria. In the middle of the season, and Finner had called and asked if I was interested in going to Sheffield, and at that
well,
point
there you are. That's an absolutely perfect response when you mention Sheffield Steelers. I think you've obviously trained Lola well. I like that.
Yeah.
Like that response. That's the face I pull as well. But then obviously the opportunity came up again when he was managing Braehead Con.
Yeah, you know what, and I think for myself, the more you talk to, I played with Scott Arson in Dornbirn, and I talked to him a little bit about it, and then of course I kind of knew Finner a little bit just from speaking to him, and Gareth I talked to a couple times before as well.
Because you do hear players, obviously every hockey player, when people ask them, what had you heard about the team, everyone always says that line, I've heard nothing but good things about the organisation. But I guess in this particular occasion, that really was your experience.
Yeah, no, and I knew that it was important to me to go to a place where I was going to feel comfortable and that I knew was serious about winning, and that's I think what we found here, and it's been a life-changing experience. It's one of those things, I'm pretty sure you knew this question was coming, that I don't think the fans would forgive me if I didn't ask. I mean, last year, people weren't sure if you were returning. I think it just happens that any time a player's over 30, you get the question if you're going to retire all the time. We've also seen some players much older than you in the league do fantastically well in this league. What are your thoughts at the moment? Is it something you consider? Is there any end date in your mind? Or is it just a case of you have to see how your feeling as the season goes on? Yeah, I don't think... I think for me personally, I know that if I was to ever sit and say, oh, this is my last year, or I've just got 1 year left in me, I think that's when I would know.
Yeah,
I've probably played too long, and I've probably gone a little bit too far with it. I think.
And you're not saying that to yourself now.
No, and I wouldn't say it, and I wouldn't want to give off that impression, because it means a lot to me to be able to play hockey. It means a lot to be able to do it for a living, and have my family over here, and for us it's a really good experience. So I would never want to give off the impression that I'm not going to play, or I'm thinking about retiring, because I think that takes away from the team, and I think it takes away from what we're trying to do this season, and that's ultimately win and be successful.
Well, I'm delighted to hear it, and I'm pretty sure there's a few thousand Clan fans that enjoyed that little soupçon of hope you've given out there. I think from that point of view, I think a lot of them feel that you've been an absolute talisman for the team. You've led as a captain. You've been a really important member of the team and been a huge part of its growth. So thank you very much, man. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Gerry.
We should probably get these kids and dogs inside and be good parents.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Cheers, man.
Cheers.